Right, our political editor Jane Patterson joins us now live from the steps of Parliament. Jane, what are we expecting to happen tonight? Will we get a decision?
That's not quite clear yet, Lisa, although we've just spoken to one MP, Chris Penk, who's just arrived in for the 7 o'clock start for this caucus meeting. He said that really it would be preferable to get it done and over with sooner rather than later. And I imagine that that would be really the thought of many of these MPs. They've already been through one pretty brutal leadership campaign pretty recently, and I doubt that they'll want this to drag on, because the longer it drags on, the longer we're out here asking them about the leadership, and it just becomes very messy. Although they have said, the whip said today, Barbara Kuriger, it could be 24 hours to 48 hours that they make a decision. So two potential scenarios: that they come out and have elected a new leader and potentially a new deputy, or they come out and announce the array of contenders and a timeline for a potential vote.
OK, so they want this to be as bloodless as possible, given what's gone on recently. Let's check out some of the contenders. Simon Bridges, is he really in the hunt for a comeback here?
Look, I don't know how serious Mr Bridges is about all of this. He talked to media on the way back in, and he wouldn't rule it out. And he just said, look, there are some difficult decisions for the caucus to have. I mean, he would be an obvious one, as one of the few people in the caucus probably at the moment that actually wants this job. But of course, he was rolled by his caucus. There's still a lot of distrust there, and people who didn't support him. So again, I'm not sure how serious a contender he is. Now, Nikki Kay, as deputy, was appointed acting leader today. Throughout this, I don't know how strong her leadership ambitions are. She's always talked about being much more comfortable in that deputy leader role. We could see her step forward and take the leadership through to the election if someone else doesn't step forward, if there's no other clear contender. And then, of course, we have Judith Collins, and I must say that today consensus has really been firming up around her. We've talked to some MPs who just see her as the only option at this stage, and MPs arriving. They'll be here. A lot of them are here already. We've been at the airport. They've been streaming into the capital at 7 o'clock or around 7:30. They'll be up in the caucus room on the third floor here up at Parliament. And we really don't quite know what the process is going to be. It could be people just getting up and declaring their candidacy and pitching their case and making their case. This is quite unusual. We don't have the time for the normal lobbying over the phones, the frantic phone calls, the days of lobbying and horse trading. It may be that the people who want to put their hat in the race just get up and make their case, and there's a vote tonight.
The other kind of interesting factors there unanswered. Paula Bennett, is she still retiring?
I think that would very much depend on the outcome of this leadership race. She had made it clear that her political aspirations under the leadership of Todd Muller were no longer there, because she didn't have the pathway potentially to become Deputy Prime Minister again if she wasn't Deputy Leader. If there was an opportunity, and as I said, it's probably an outside chance if Simon Bridges stood and won the leadership again, that, very possibly she could come back as leader, as Deputy Leader and campaign chair. So I think her position will very much be dependent on who wins that leadership. I think if it is Judith Collins, I think Paula Bennett will still intend to depart politics come September.
Do we know anything more at this point about why Todd Muller chose to resign? Obviously, we've had his statement, but is this a case of be careful what you wish for?
Look, what we've been told today, Lisa, and it's been a very sensitive situation, is that he has had some form of breakdown, and that's what we've been reporting today. So, mental health is a very difficult thing to talk about. It hasn't been openly said today, but that's, what we understand. His personal health is at risk, and so that we haven't heard anything to the contrary in terms of why that is not the reason that he's resigned. And it really all seemed to culminate around that disastrous series of interviews last week. Over the weekend, we've been told by senior MPs and people who'd normally be connected that the communications had really come to quite a close circle. That Todd Muller was really MIA through, for example, wasn't at a regional conference. Had basically said that he was sick earlier this week, so he hadn't been out in the public. He hadn't been in communication with his MPs, and obviously has been thinking all of this over as it's been coming out. So look, that's what we understand, and we, as I said, we have no reason to think that there are other reasons behind his resignation. It just became too tough.
Just in terms of practicalities, all of these billboards went up in the last, week, 10 days with Nikki Kay and Todd Muller on them. We saw video footage of one being taken down. What is happening, do we know?
So, excuse me, we're just seeing cars and taxis pulling up. We're just having a look at exactly who it might be. And our cameraman Logan is saying that it might actually be Amy Adams. So she may be pulling right up, but I'm not sure. But
if she wanders past you,
one MP that I spoke to, they were...
Sorry, if she wanders past, give her a yell.
It seems like she's driving away, so maybe not. Oh, she is down there, but I cannot see her. So unfortunately, but we do have reporters out there, Lisa, so they may be able to bring us some comments. But practically, I talked to one MP this morning and they were completely gobsmacked and blindsided by this news that all MPs received on a caucus call this morning. And they basically had to ring their electorate staff or ring their party people and say, don't put the billboards up, stop the billboards from coming out of the warehouse, because they had Todd Muller all over them. So this is the point we're at, as actually we were, of course, in 2017 when Jacinda Ardern took over the leadership at a very late stage. But she actually was even closer to the election than Todd Muller. She took over 53 days before the election, and he has taken over 67 days.
Thanks, Jane. Jane Patterson, coiled spring on the steps of Parliament there, who will no doubt bring all the developments to us throughout the evening.